Hello, and welcome to our civil rights training, where we're not just checking boxes. We are building a culture of respect, equity, and inclusion around all food and nutrition programs. As a nutrition program, we have a powerful role, making sure every child, family, and participant is treated fairly, regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. That's not just best practice, it's the law. Because when we understand civil rights, we don't just serve meals, we serve equality and equity. The USDA is an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender. Today, we'll dive into a training that is all about fairness, inclusion, and respect, because everyone deserves a seat at the table. Here's what's on our plate today. Civil Rights Foundation, we'll kick off things with the why behind the rules. Think of it as the recipe for equity in our programs. Discrimination in protected classes. Let's stir up awareness about what discrimination looks like and who is protected under the law. Assurances and agreements. These are our promises to keep things fair and inclusive. We'll break down what we're signing up for. Public notification and accessibility. How do we make sure everyone hears the message and can access our services? We've got tips and tools. Compliance, training, customer service, and conflict resolution. From reviews to resolving issues with grace, we will wrap up with how to keep our programs running smoothly. This lesson will focus on civil rights, USDA's FNS program authorities, and discrimination. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to complete the following objectives. Identify civil rights and program authorities. Define discrimination. Identify the areas by which discrimination is prohibited from all USDA Child Nutrition Programs. And define the discrimination complaint processes. Let's kick off this section with the building blocks of civil rights and nutrition programs. We'll cover the big laws, the rules that apply to our programs, and how faith-based groups fit in, all with fairness and inclusion at the heart. Are you ready to explore the legal side of doing the right thing? Let's go. The Civil Rights Program within nutrition programs is designed to ensure equitable treatment and access for all individuals regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. Key areas of compliance include assurances, public notification requirements, complaints of discrimination, civil rights training, race and ethnicity data collection, limited English proficiency, also known as LEP, disability compliance, compliance reviews, resolution of noncompliance, conflict resolution, and customer service. These components form the foundation of civil rights enforcement and are essential for maintaining program integrity and inclusivity. Each area addresses specific responsibilities and procedures that agencies and sub-recipients must follow to uphold civil rights standards. For example, public notification ensures that all eligible individuals are informed of their rights and program availability, while complaint procedures provide a mechanism for addressing grievances. Training ensures that staff understand their obligation, and data collection helps monitor participation equity. Together, these elements support a comprehensive approach to civil rights compliance. So, before we dive in, let's play civil rights detective. There are 5 key things that every provider needs to remember about civil rights and food nutrition programs. And we've got a secret code to help. Yes. Now, I know it sounds silly, but each letter stands for something important. And by the end of today's session, you will know them all. But first, I want you to guess what they might be. Let's take a look at this slide. We have 5 boxes, 5 clues and 1 mission to figure out what means and why it matters. Yes, that is right. 3 P's, 1 S, and 1 T. Any guesses on the first P? Let's fill them in together as we go. Civil rights compliance in federally assisted nutrition programs is governed by a robust legal framework. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on race, color, and national origin. The Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1987 expanded the scope of this law to cover entire institutions receiving federal funds. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, of 1990, including its 2008 amendments, protects individuals with disabilities. The Age Discrimination Act of 1975 and Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 address age and sex discrimination, respectively. Additional regulations such as 7 CFR Parts 15, 15A, and 15B, and Executive Order 13166 on LEP access further reinforce non-discrimination mandates. The USDA LEP policy guidance and departmental regulations like 4330-2 provide specific instructions for implementation. These laws collectively ensure that all individuals have equal access to nutrition programs and that agencies are held accountable for upholding civil rights. Right, it's time to test your civil rights radar. We have 3 major laws on the screen and 3 clues in our answer bank. But here's the twist. You're going to have to match them. So take a look at the laws listed on the left. Now peek at the clues on the right. Which law goes with which clue? No pressure. It's just a warm-up to get those brains buzzing. Pause now to read through your answer choices and choose your answer. All right, let's see how you did. Time to reveal answers and celebrate some civil rights brain power. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This one is all about race, color, and national origin. It ensures no one is excluded from any federal funded programs because of who they are. Powerful stuff. Next, the Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1987. This law came in to clarify the scope, making sure civil rights protections apply across all parts of organization, not just the program that receives the federal funds. Think of it as the no loopholes law. Next, Section 504 in ADA for 1990 and 2008. These protect individuals with disabilities, ensuring equal access and reasonable accommodations. Inclusion matters, and these laws make it happen. If you've got all 3, give yourself a virtual high five. If not, no worries, we're just getting warmed up. Let's keep learning and leveling up together. All right, round 2 of our Civil Rights Challenge. We have 5 laws on the left and 4 clues in our answer bank on the right. But here's the twist. You can tell us what law matches what protection. Think of it as a civil rights matching game. Does Title IX protect against age? Probably not. What about Executive Order 13166? Who is that helping? Take a moment to think it through, and let's see how well you know your civil rights protections. You'll use one answer twice. Are you ready to show off your knowledge? Let's go. Pause now to read through the answer choices and choose your answer. Great job, everyone! You've just tackled some of the lesser known but super important civil rights laws that guide our work in the nutrition programs. Let's check our answers and see how well you match them with the clues in our answer bank. Age Discrimination Act of 1975. You've guessed it. This one is all about age. No one gets left out because of how many candles are on their birthday cake. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. That's right. It covers sex. Equal access no matter your gender. 7 CFR Parts 15, 15A, and 15B. These are USDA rules for non-discrimination, education, and disability, a triple threat of fairness. Executive Order 13166. This one ensures access for LEP persons, those with limited English proficiency. Everyone deserves to understand what's being offered. USDA LEP Policy Guidance 2014. Yep, it backs up that executive order with practical steps for making programs accessible to our limited English proficiency participants. Whether you've nailed all of them or learned something new, you're now officially more civil rights savvy than you were 5 minutes ago. Are you ready to keep going? 7 CFR Part 16 ensures that faith-based and community organizations have an equal opportunity to participate in USDA programs. This regulation prohibits discrimination against organizations based on their religious character and mandates that they be treated on par with other eligible entities. The goal is to create a level playing field where all qualified organizations can contribute to program delivery without bias. This provision supports broader community engagement and enhanced service reach, especially in those underserved areas. It also reinforces the principle that civil rights protections extends to that organization participation, not just to individuals' beneficiaries. Agencies must ensure that their selection and funding processes are free from religious discrimination and that faith-based organizations can comply with all civil rights requirements. All right, you civil rights detective, your next mission is here. We have 4 regulations on the left and 3 clues in our answer bank on the right. But which law matches what principle? Is it about religious organization, state and local services, or federally assisted programs? Use your best judgment, your training instincts, or just go with your gut. This is all about learning together. Ready, set, match those laws. Pause now to read through the answer choices and choose your answer. Time's up. Let's see how well you match those civil rights laws. Ready for the big reveal? 28 CFR Part 35. This one is all about non-discrimination in state and local government services. If it's public and local, this law makes sure that it's fair and accessible. 28 CFR Part 42 and USDA Department Regulation 4330-2. Double trouble. These two team up to cover non-discrimination in federally assisted programs. If federal dollars are involved, civil rights protection must follow. 7 CFR Part 16. Now this one is a bit unique. It ensures equal opportunity for religious organization. Faith-based groups can participate in federal programs, but they must do so without discrimination. If you nailed all 3, give yourself a virtual fist bump. If you've missed 1 or 2, no worries. This is how we learn. And now you've got these locked in for next time. Let's keep the momentum going. On to the next section. Several federal statutes and regulation govern specific child nutrition programs. The Richard B. Russell National School Lunch Act of 1946 and the Child Nutrition Act of 1966 are foundational laws for programs like the National School Lunch Program, NSLP, School Breakfast Program, SBP, Special Milk Program, SMP, Child and Adult Care Food Program, CACFP, and the Summer Food Service Program, SFSP. Each program is regulated under specific parts of the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, the National School Lunch under 7 CFR Part 210, the School Milk Program under Part 215, the School Breakfast Program under Part 220, the CACFP under Part 226, and the Summer Food Service Program under Part 225. The FNS Instruction 113-1 and its appendices provide detailed guidance on civil rights compliance for each program. Additionally, policy memos such as SP 59-2016, CACFP 14-2017, and SFSP 10-2017 address meal modifications and accommodations. These legal authorities ensures that civil rights principles are embedded in the administration of each nutrition program, promoting fairness and accessibility. All right, nutrition programs crew, it is time to flex those program law muscles. We have blanks on the screen, and I need your help to fill them in. These laws are the backbones of programs like the National School Lunch Program and the School Milk Program. And you probably know more than you think. So here's your mission. Take a look at the slide and drop your guesses in the comments. What year was the National School Lunch Act passed? What is the full name of the Child Nutrition Act? And those mysterious CFR parts. Can you crack the code? Let's see who has the sharpest civil rights and program law instincts. Pause now to fill in the blanks with your answer. Time to reveal the answers and celebrate some nutrition law know-how. Let's break it down. The Richard B. Russell National School Lunch Act of 1946. This one kicked off the whole school lunch movement. It laid the foundation for feeding millions of kids across the country. And yes, those googly-eyed numbers are watching to make sure that we remember it. Child Nutrition Act of 1966. This act expanded the mission, adding more programs and more support. It's the reason we have a broader reach today, including breakfast and summer meals. 7 CFR Part 210 National School Lunch Program. This is the rule book for the National School Lunch Program. And 7 CFR Part 215. This one is the rule book for the School Milk Program. So there are more blanks on the screen, and I need your help to fill them in. We're looking at some key laws and regulations that guide the school breakfast program. But I've left a few blanks for you to help me fill in. Take a look at the slide. You'll see 3 important items, but they are missing some key details. Let's see who can guess what goes in the blank. What is the CFR part number for the school breakfast program? And what is the FNS instruction and its appendix? And what's that memo number for meal modification? Pause now to fill in the blanks with your answers. Are you ready for the reveal? 7 CFR Part 220 is the rule book for School Breakfast Program, and FNS Instruction 113-1 and Appendix B provide more information. The Meal Modification Memo SP 59-2016 also provides more program laws for the school breakfast program. All right, nutrition programs, time to put our heads together. We're looking at some key laws and regulations that guide CACFP, but I left a few blanks for you to fill in. Take a look at the slide, and you'll see 3 important items, but they're missing a few key details. Let's see who can guess what goes in the blank. What is the CFR part number for CACFP? What is the FNS instruction number in its appendix? And what is the menu number for meal modifications? Nice work, team. Let's check your answers and celebrate some CACFP law knowledge. Here's what you should have filled in. 7 CFR Part 226 is the main regulation for CACFP. It is our playbook for how the program runs, from eligibility to meal patterns. FNS Instruction 113-1 and Appendix B, this instruction is all about civil rights compliance. Appendix B gives us the procedures for handling complaints. It is our guide to fairness and accountability. Meal Modification Memo CACFP 14-2017, this memo reminds us how to accommodate participants with disabilities. It's not just about food, it's about access and inclusion. And if you got all 3, what an awesome job. If you miss one, no worries. We are learning together. And now you've got the tools to support providers with confidence. Let's keep building that knowledge. All right, team, it's time to put on your summer food service program smarts to the test. We have 3 blanks on the screen, and I need your help to fill them in. Drop your guesses in the comments for any of these. What is the CFR part number for SFSP? What FNS instruction and appendix goes with it? And what year completes the Meal Modification Policy Memo? SFSP 10-20 what? No pressure. Let's see who's got their summer program law game strong. And don't worry, we will reveal the answers and celebrate your civil rights savvy in just a minute. Pause now to fill in the blanks with your answers. Let's see how close you got to cracking the Summer Food Service Program code. Are you ready for the reveal? 7 CFR Part 225 is the official regulation for the Summer Food Service Program. It's the rule book that keeps summer meals running smoothly. FNS Instruction 113-1 and Appendix B. These are your go-to resources for civil rights compliance in SFSP. They spell out what's expected and how to stay aligned with federal standards. Meal Modification Policy Memo SFSP 10-2017. This memo ensures participants with disabilities get the meal modifications they need. Remember, it's all about access, inclusion, and dignity at the table. Give yourself a round of applause, whether you nailed them or you learned something new. You are building your civil rights toolkit. Let's keep the energy up and move to the next section. Let's jump into one of the most important parts of civil rights, discrimination and protected classes. We'll break down what discrimination really means, the different types, and who's protected under the law. To kick things off, drop the Statue of Liberty emoji in the comments. Let's see what value drives our work. Ready? Let's go. Okay, now, don't forget, we are playing Civil Rights Detective. There are 5 key things that every provider needs to remember about civil rights in food nutrition programs. And we've got a secret code to help us. 3 P's, 1 S, and 1 T. And as we go through this section, listen and guess the first P. Nutrition programs. This is your moment to reflect and share. We're talking about discrimination, what it is, how it shows up, and how we stop it. So reflect. What is discrimination? Share your definition in the comments. Let's hear how you would explain it to a provider, a coworker, or participant. Next, what are some forms of discrimination you've seen or heard or possibly experienced in a program setting? Type one example in the comments. It could be based on race, language, disability, or whatever comes to mind. And finally, how do we prevent discrimination in our work? Reflect and comment one strategy you use or recommend. Let's build a list of best practices. This is how we learn from each other and strengthen our commitment to equity. Discrimination in the context of civil rights refers to the different treatment of participants or groups based on protected characteristics. This can occur intentionally, through neglect, or as a result of actions or inactions. Discrimination undermines the principle of fairness and equal access and can manifest in various forms such as denial of services, unequal treatment, or biased decision-making. Understanding what constitutes discrimination is essential for identifying and addressing violations. Agencies and providers must be vigilant in monitoring their practices and interactions to ensure that all participants are treated equitably. Training and awareness are key tools in preventing discrimination and fostering an inclusive environment for all participants. Next, let's reveal the heart of civil rights protections, the protected classes. These are the groups that federal law says must be treated fairly and equitably in all our nutrition programs. Let's walk through them together. Race and color. These are the original pillars of civil rights protection. Discrimination based on race or skin color? Absolutely not. Sex, and yes, this includes sexual orientation. National origin, language, culture, and birthplace. None of these should ever be a barrier to participation. Age, whether it's a toddler in childcare or a senior in adult daycare, age can't be used to exclude or mistreat. Disability, this one is big. We must provide equal access and reasonable accommodations to everyone so that everyone can participate fully. These 6 protected classes are the foundation of our commitment to fairness. When we know them, we can spot issues, support our providers and participants, and serve with dignity. Let's keep this list close because it's not just policy, it's about people. Let's talk data, not the boring kind. The kind that helps us serve better, smarter, and more fairly. So why do we collect the racial and ethnic data in our programs? First, it helps us monitor how effectively our programs reach eligible participants. Are we showing up where we're needed most? Are we missing anyone? This data helps us answer those questions. And second, it's a requirement. State agencies and providers must collect this info from both applicants and participants. It is not optional. It is a part of ensuring civil rights compliance. Remember, When we collect data with care and purpose, again, we are not just checking boxes. We are making sure that every participant gets a fair chance. As a means of monitoring civil rights compliance, state agencies and providers shall establish a system for the collection of racial ethnic data for each person applying for and receiving benefits. The applicants should be assured that the information is required for and used for statistical purposes only and has no effect on eligibility criteria. That this data should be collected at the point of application and retained at the service delivery area. Time to reflect. How is your data collected? And what data should the agency, institution, or provider collect? Let's take a closer look at the form that helps us do our part in civil rights compliance, the data collection form. This form isn't just about paperwork. It is a tool that helps us make sure that our programs are reaching everyone that they're meant to serve. And here's how it works. Step 1, ethnicity. We ask if the participant is Hispanic or Latino or not Hispanic or Latino. Just one choice here. Step 2, race. This one is where they can select one or more. Participants can identify with multiple racial groups, and we honor that. Options include American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander. White. Time to reflect. Why do you think it's important to allow more than one race selection? Pop your thoughts in the comments. Remember, collecting this data helps us to monitor access, spot gaps, and ensure equity. Remember, it's not just a form, it is a step towards fairness. Let's talk LEP. That's short for Limited English Proficiency. Imagine walking into a room where everyone's speaking a language that you don't understand. You'll feel confusing, right? Now, picture trying to ask for help, but no one can understand you. That's how some of our participants feel. So what do? We translate. We're responsible for making sure everyone, no matter what language they speak, gets the same access to our programs. That means using translation services when needed. And no, participants should not be used as interpreters. That is a big no-no. Volunteers can help, but they need to know the golden rule: confidentiality. What is shared in translation stays in translation. So let's keep it fair, respectful, and inclusive, because everyone deserves to be heard. Nutrition programs are required to provide all program materials to potentially eligible persons, applicants, program participants, and the public in languages other than English as appropriate. To ensure compliance with providing meaningful access, there are a number of factors to consider. First, the number or proportion of LEP people eligible to be served or likely to be encountered by the program. Secondly, the frequency with which people with LEP come into contact with the program. Third, the nature and importance of the program activity or service provided by the program. And lastly, resources available and cost. Meaningful program access is provided for participants with LEP in several ways. Conducting assessments to determine language profiles for their state, considering regional differences and updating as appropriate. Translating vital documents and online information. Posting multilingual notices for free interpretation services. Utilizing qualified and competent interpreters and translators. Training frontline staff regarding how to provide LEP populations with meaningful access. Now, let's zoom in on the LEP population. And yes, we've got data to back it up. If you're ever wondering, where do we go to find information on people with limited English proficiency? Well, we've had 4 solid sources for you. First up, the Interagency LEP Mapping Tool. It's like Google Maps, but for language needs. Super handy. Next, the U.S. Census and American Community Survey. These are big data players. They tell us who's living where and what languages they speak. And finally, the Migration Policy Institute. They dig deep into immigration trends and language access. So when you're planning services, reviewing outreach, or just trying to understand our communities better, these tools help us make smart, inclusive decisions. So let's use the data to make sure that everyone gets a seat at the table, no matter what language they speak. Any federal child nutrition program that is fully or partially funded through federal dollars must be accessible to and usable by persons with disabilities. This includes, but is not limited to, persons with visions or hearing impairments. Participants must have full physical access to the buildings and parts of the building that house these programs. If, for some reason, access is not available, the nutrition program must offer the most integrated setting possible that will allow participants with disabilities to fully benefit from the program. If structural changes must be made to the building, a transition plan should be developed that would allow continued access to program accessibility. Access accommodations may include, but are not limited to, moving to an accessible building, assigning aides to assist participants, making home visits, delivering services at an alternate accessible site. This applies to sites with 15 or fewer employees, altering existing facilities, and constructing new accessible facilities. Programs are also required to reasonably accommodate participants whose disabilities restrict their diets by providing substitutions and modifications for their meals when supported by a proper medical statement. This medical statement can be from a licensed healthcare professional, a licensed physician, a physician assistant, registered dietitian, and advanced practice nurse prescribers. The medical statement must include how to accommodate the disability, what foods can be omitted, and what foods can be provided as substitution. Please remember that a disability is defined as any physical or mental impairment that limits one or more major life activities, including digestion. This includes food allergies and intolerances. Federal civil rights laws identify 6 protected bases of discrimination: race, color, national origin, age, sex, and disability. These categories are central to the civil rights enforcement and guide agencies and providers in their compliance efforts. Discrimination based on any one of these characteristics is prohibited in programs receiving federal financial assistance. Agencies and providers must ensure that their policies, procedures, and interactions do not disadvantage individuals based on these protected traits. This includes providing reasonable accommodations for disability, language assistance for LEP individuals, and ensuring that outreach material reflects diversity. Recognizing and respecting these protected bases is fundamental in protecting program integrity and promoting equity. Nutrition programs. Time for a memory trick that will stick. And once you know them, you'll never forget. We've covered discrimination and protected classes. And we want to make it easy to remember the 5 major things we need to communicate with providers and institutions. And this is our cheat code. FST. Yep, that's 3 P's, 1 S, and 1 T. Think back. What do you think the first P stands for? Type it in the comments. Who do we serve? Who do we provide? Who do we protect? Let's take a look and see if you can crack the code. What do you think the first P stands for? Type it in the comments. Psst. Let's kick off our civil rights reminders with the first P, participants. Yes, these are the folks that we serve every day, and it's our job to make sure that everyone gets a fair and equal access to our programs. That means we offer services in a non-discriminatory manner to all participants who are eligible. We provide meal substitution for participants with disabilities because inclusion means meeting individual needs. And we make sure those participants with limited English proficiency are not left out. Translation services are a must. So remember, P is for participants, and they are at the heart of everything we do. Let's shift gears and talk about the behind-the-scene commitments, the ones baked into our paperwork. Every program application and subrecipient agreement includes a civil rights assurances. That means when someone signs on to participate in a food nutrition program, they are also agreeing to uphold the civil rights protections. And it is not optional. It's a promise. A promise to treat all participants fairly, to prevent discrimination, and to follow the rules that protect access and equity. So whether you're reviewing an application, working with a provider, remember, these assurances are more than fine print. They are the foundation of a shared responsibility. To qualify for federal financial assistance, program applications must include written assurance that the program or facility will operate in compliance with civil rights laws and non-discrimination regulations. These assurances are a legal commitment to uphold civil rights standards and are incorporated into all agreements between state and local agencies and their sub-recipients. FNS Instruction 113-1, Appendix B, and Form FNS-74 provide specific language for these assurances. They serve as a foundational element of civil rights compliance, ensuring that all parties understand and agree their responsibilities. Agencies and providers must maintain documentation of these assurances and monitor adherence throughout program implementation. Subrecipient agreements must also include civil rights assurances of non-discrimination. This requirement extends to the entities such as the school food authorities, SFAs, that contract with food service management companies, FSMCs. SFAs are responsible for ensuring that their FSMCs comply with the civil rights requirements. These assurances are binding on the program applicant and its successors, transferees, and assignees for as long as they receive or retain USDA assistance. Agencies must review and enforce these agreements to ensure ongoing compliance. Failure to include or uphold these assurances can result in non-compliance findings and jeopardize program funding. A voluntary resolution agreement, VRA, is an agreement that a recipient or recipients are willingly consenting to undertake remedial actions to address identified areas of non-compliance or in violation with applicable civil rights laws and/or regulations. The VRA may be between multiple parties, such as the officials in authority to regulate civil rights laws, the Food and Nutrition Service, Civil Rights Division, FNSCRD, recipient or subrecipient, state agency or school, and program participant, the complainant. Voluntary resolution agreements may be used to close out a civil rights compliance review at the discretion of FNSCRD in lieu of issuing a written compliance review report with findings. Next up, public notification and accessibility. Nutrition providers must let the public know that their programs are open to everyone. That means posting the And Justice for All poster and using the non-discrimination statement in materials. And don't forget, information should be accessible to people with disabilities and those who speak other languages. Everyone deserves to understand their rights. The next P in our secret code is easy. Think about it as we review the next section. The And Justice for All poster is a tool to help communicate the services and benefits of your program without discrimination. In any establishment where services and benefits are delivered, it must be prominently displayed where everyone can view it. The And Justice for All poster is to inform the public about applicable USDA non-discrimination statutes and policies, how to file a civil rights complaint with USDA. This includes any meal service sites, schools, daycare, and adult daycare centers. Family daycare homes are not required to display this poster. In a school's cafeteria, the poster must be displayed in an area where everyone can view it, not behind the serving line. There are 3 versions of this poster, but the green one, AD-475A, is the most current and most recent version that should be used in offices, schools, and other sites that administer food nutrition programs. So before we dive into the next part, think about this. How do we make sure that the public knows their rights and that all programs are open to all? All right, here comes another piece of the Civil Rights Secret Code. Based on what we've covered so far, what do you think the next P in our PPPST acronym stands for? That's right, you've guessed it. This one is easy. It's all about the posters. And if you've got a wall, then you've got a place for the And Justice for All poster. It's not just decoration, it is a declaration. And the And Justice for All poster must be posted in a prominent location at all facilities and central office. Now we've covered 2 P's so far, participants and poster. Ready to spot the 3rd P? Listen closely, because this next one is another key piece of how we protect rights in nutrition programs. Any guesses of what it might be? All nutrition programs are required to have a process in place for handling all civil rights complaints. The nutrition programs are not authorized to process complaints. Programs must forward complaints to the FNS Civil Rights Division in accordance with the timeframes established in FNS Instruction 113-1 and the FNS State Agency Complaints Processing MOU, if in place. Forward complaints based on race, color, national origin, sex, including sexual orientation, and disability, to the Civil Rights Division within 5 calendar days of receipt. Forward complaints based on age, or a combination of age and other bases, to the Civil Rights Division within 5 business days of receipt. A person alleging discrimination has the right to file their complaint within 180 days of the alleged action. Only the Secretary of Agriculture or their designee can waive this requirement for a good cause. Complaints must be received and accepted, whether written, verbal, or anonymous. Confidentiality is extremely important and must be maintained. The complaint does not need to be written or signed if it is submitted in an alternate format to accommodate the complaint filing needs of a person who is LEP, has a disability, or another special need. All civil rights complaints must be documented and maintained in a log. The log can be written or electronic. but it must be kept separate from any other program complaints laws, and it must be accessible only to authorized personnel to ensure confidentiality and compliance with the Privacy Act requirements. For more details on how to file a program discrimination complaint, visit the USDA.gov website. A civil rights complaint is a statement that contains the complainant's name and address and describes an agency or provider's alleged discriminatory action in sufficient detail to inform the USDA Office of Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights of the nature and date of the alleged civil rights violation. Statements can be written, verbal, or anonymous complaints. All right, 2 P's are down. Are you ready for number 3? This one is all about being proactive when someone has a civil rights complaint and that they are handled properly. What kind of P might that be? You've got it! The third P stands for procedure. Every nutrition program must have a written civil rights complaint procedure. It is how we make sure concerns are handled fairly, consistently, and respectfully. Let's listen up for what the next letter, S, in our Civil Rights Secret Code helps us to remember and implement. All program materials or media, including paper and electronic media, publicizing a USDA-funded nutrition program must include the non-discrimination statement in its entirety. Electronic media includes websites and digital applications. Although not required on every page of a site, the full non-discrimination statement or a link to the field statement must be included on the home page. We want to ensure institutions are prominently displaying the And Justice for All poster, conveying the message of equal opportunity in all photos and other graphics, making information available to the public upon request, informing potential eligible persons, applicant, participants, and grassroots organizations of programs or changes in programs, and providing appropriate information in alternative formats for persons with disability and in the appropriate language for persons with limited English proficiency. There is a short version of the statement that can only be used in special circumstances. The institution is an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender. In addition to the Spanish translation, there are over 55 non-English translations of the full non-discrimination statement available online on the FNS public website. Okay, so we're moving on to the fourth letter, S, in our Civil Rights Secret Code. Think about what shows up in public materials, in flyers, and websites to let people know their rights and how to file a complaint. What do you think the S stands for in our Civil Rights Secret Code? Great thinking. The S in our Civil Rights Secret Code stands for statement, specifically the USDA's required non-discrimination statement. It must be included in all public notifications and materials, along with the USDA contact info for filing a complaint. It is a simple but powerful way to ensure transparency and access. We're almost there. The last letter, T, in our Civil Rights Secret Code makes sure that everyone stays on track. It's the reason why you are here today. Let's continue to listen for what the last letter, T, in our Civil Rights Secret Code unlocks. All FNS assistant programs must implement a public notification system to inform applicants, participants, and potential eligible individuals of their rights and responsibilities. This includes providing information about program availability, complaint procedures, and non-discrimination policies. Agencies must prominently display the And Justice for All poster to ensure the outreach materials convey the message of equal opportunity. Information must be accessible in alternate formats for individuals with disabilities and in appropriate languages for limited English proficiency persons. Websites and printed materials must include the USDA non-discrimination statement or a link to it on the homepage. These measures ensure transparency and promote equitable access to program benefits. Civil rights compliance is checked through reviews and reinforced with annual staff training. Staff must treat all participants respectfully and fairly. Conflict should be handled calmly with a focus on resolving issues without discrimination. Let's discuss. Compliance reviews are performed to examine the activities of state agencies, subrecipients, and local sites to determine civil rights compliance. USDA, FNS civil rights and program staff review state agencies. State agencies review their subrecipients, and subrecipients review their local agencies. All significant findings must be provided in writing to the reviewed entity and to USDA FNS. There are three types of compliance reviews: pre-award, routine, post-award, and special. Pre-award compliance reviews verify that all levels of program administration, state agencies to local sites, are in compliance with civil rights requirements prior to approval for federal financial assistance. USDA, FNS, and state agencies must conduct routine post-award compliance reviews to assess all civil rights compliance areas. Special compliance reviews occur for various reasons and may be scheduled or unscheduled. These may be conducted to follow up on previous findings of noncompliance or to investigate reports of noncompliance by other agencies, media, or grassroots organizations. Special compliance reviews also may be specific to an incident or policy. If there is history of statistical underrepresentation of a particular group or groups, or a pattern of complaints of discrimination, a special compliance review may be conducted. Noncompliance is a factual finding that any civil rights requirement as provided by regulations, instructions, policy, or state agency, local agency, or other subrecipient guidelines has not been met. All instances of noncompliance are considered equal, with no minor or major categories. As a result, all findings of noncompliance must be reported. The level where the noncompliance occurred, state agency, subrecipient agency, or local site, must take immediate steps to obtain voluntary compliance. Voluntary compliance must be achieved within 60 days from the finding's effective date, which is the date of notice to the reviewed entity. Training is required so that all individuals involved in all levels of administration of programs that receive federal financial assistance understand federal laws, regulations, instructions, policies, and other guidance. Training on civil rights must be completed annually by anyone involved in any aspect of the USDA nutrition programs. Training must be documented to verify completion. Both full-time and part-time employees, whether staff, volunteers, or contractors, at all levels, must take the training before doing any duties related to the program. This includes, but is not limited to, staff that interacts with applicants, participants, and/or their parents, guardians, and caretakers, individuals who make eligibility determinations or who collect and manage data, kitchen staff, whether they are cooks, servers, or cashiers, district and school level staff who have program duties, for instance, superintendents, principals, and volunteers, and anyone who supervises meals or takes meal counts. All staff should receive annual training on all aspects of the civil rights compliance, including, but not limited to, collection and use of data, complaint procedures, compliance review techniques, conflict resolution, customer service, effective public notification system, resolution of noncompliance, requirements for language assistance with people with limited English proficiency, reasonable modifications and auxiliary aids and services for people with disabilities. All staff must complete civil rights training every year. And yes, your organization's complaint procedure should be a part of it too. Site level training is required to your complaint procedure, and it must be documented with an agenda, a sign-in sheet, presentation materials, and notes. And here we are, the final letter in PPPST. This one helps us ensure that everyone stays on track and makes sure that civil rights responsibilities are being met. So what do you think the T in the Civil Rights Secret Code stands for? And you've guessed it, the final letter T stands for training. Civil rights training is required annually for all staff involved in the food nutrition program. It is how we keep the standards strong and the service equitable. Train your staff annually according to the civil rights and complaint procedure. In the context of civil rights compliance, understanding who our customers are and how we serve them is paramount. Our customers include applicants, participants, and the general public, each deserving of respectful and equitable treatment. Effective customer service and nutrition programs involves clear communication, responsiveness to needs, and a genuine appreciation for the individual's work. These practices are not just professional standards, they are integral in civil rights compliance. By instilling excellence through courtesy and confidence and enthusiasm, we can create an environment where all individuals feel valued and supported. This approach helps prevent discrimination and ensures that our services are accessible and exclusive. Whether we're answering questions, processing applications, or serving meals, our interactions should reflect a commitment to fairness and dignity. Although there are no hard, set rules for customer service, there are best practices that everyone should follow. For a program to be successful, it is essential to apply these consistently and equitably. Doing so saves you time and minimizes opportunities for complaints and angry customers. To ensure that you provide excellent customer service, please consider these best practices. Treat all customers with respect and dignity. Exercise good listening skills by being attentive to the customer and their needs. Learn to empathize with customers when necessary, and respond to questions in a non-threatening manner, ensuring your voice and your tone are calm and clear. Communicate rules, rights, and responsibilities clearly and precisely in a language and format that the customer and participants can understand. Recognize and appreciate that customers may have many needs, however, they may have few resources. Recognize changes in a customer's demeanors because it often signals that the person feels that they have been treated in a rude, discourteous, or unfair manner. In addition to best practices, there are some strategies to avoid in order to provide excellent customer service. We want to avoid quickly or unnecessary passing off a complainant to a coworker. We want to actively listen to our customers and try to assist with their concerns or issue. Only pass them on to someone else when you have exhausted all available resources. We want to avoid totally ignoring the complainant or letting the complainant talk themselves out of the situation. We want to avoid placing a complainant's caller on hold or leaving them in a waiting room without providing useful updates. We also want to avoid providing the customer an excuse. Sorry, it's not my job. These are things that we want to avoid in order to providing our customers excellent service. Although we never want to impede on a customer's right to file a civil rights complaint, most issues or conflicts are easily resolved by using the appropriate tools. Conflict resolution consists of useful tools to help identify a solution to a complaint. Consider these valuable skills that can be used in successful conflict resolution. Using a win-win approach is about changing the conflict from an adversarial attack and defense to cooperation. This one attitude shift can completely alter the course of a conflict communication. Be creative and turn problems into possibilities. Consciously choose to see what can be done instead of focusing on the problem or the issue. Demonstrate empathy to help cultivate feelings of openness and positive rapport between people. It helps others feel that they are understood and shows that you are an active listener. Be appropriately assertive to state your case without making the other person feel defensive. Make it about you using I statements to show how it makes you feel rather than what the other person should or should not do. Leverage cooperative power to explore the issues and then redirect discussions to a more positive possibility. Manage emotions internally and externally. It is vital to manage your own emotions and stick strictly to the facts of the complaint. Do not allow the complainant's negative emotions to drive the resolution process. It is all about supporting their real need without supporting their destructive beliefs and attitudes. Promote a willingness to resolve conflict by identifying barriers to resolution for each person involved in the situation. Although conflict resolution entails using many proven tools to assist with the solution of complaints, a successful resolution will not always occur. Once a customer files a civil rights complaint or participates in an investigation, it is unlawful to treat that person differently. Remember, the person and the conflict are not the same. Retaliation is also unacceptable and against the law. Nutrition programs. We play a critical role in ensuring that every participant in our nutrition program is treated fairly and without discrimination. By understanding and applying these civil rights principles, we uphold the integrity of our programs and foster a welcoming environment for all. Remember, P is for participants. Everyone deserves respect. Make sure that all participants are treated fairly, no exceptions. The second P is for poster. That and Justice for All poster, it needs to be up and it needs to be visible, always. And the last P is for procedure. Know what to do if someone raises a civil rights concern. Follow the steps. The S is for statement. Use the non-discrimination statement in all your materials. It is not an option. It's essential. And the T is for training. Keep your team sharp. The civil rights training should be regular and it should be relevant. So the next time you think civil rights, just say PPPST. It is your reminder to stay civil. Today's training also highlighted how civil rights compliance intersects with customer service, emphasizing that courteous and empathic interactions are not only best practices, but also legal requirements. So let's work together, nutrition programs, to ensure that our services reflect the highest standards of equity, fairness, and professionalism. Remember, it is our right to stay civil. Nutrition programs, we've covered a lot today, and now it's your turn to reflect. Whether you have big questions, small clarifications, or even real-life scenarios that you've seen with providers and participants, we are here to listen and support. Please feel free to call 501-324-9502. Remember, every question helps us to serve our providers and participants better. Excellent job, nutrition programs. You've made it to the finish line. Scan the QR code on your screen or click the link found in the description box to take the quick civil rights training post-test. And yes, once you complete the post-test with 70% or above, you'll unlock your certificate of completion because you just didn't attend. You participated, engaged, and helped build a stronger, more inclusive nutrition program community. Let's finish strong.